Well, it's NAB 2014, and we're starting off once again at the Blackmagic booth. This year they've announced two new camera systems. Their broadcast camera is aimed for large broadcast facilities, multi-camera shoots, stuff that the average shooter might not be interested in. But the key thing that you're going to be looking at this year is the Blackmagic URSA camera. This is what everybody's been wanting since Blackmagic first announced their cinema cameras a couple years back. The URSA camera has much more ergonomics designed for the professional shooter, with scopes, levels, lots of features all around the camera. Design that's more conducive to a traditional camera, a nice large 10-inch screen so that you can see any shooting angle at any time, easily pull your focus, operate the camera very, very easily. But the key thing is that it's still coming in at an affordable price point. It's a full camera package now. You really can just take the one camera and go. And for $6 grand, you get the EF mount, and for $6,500, you get the PL mount option. We had a chance to take a look at their press conference. We're going to show you that now, but later this week we're going to be giving you a full hands-on review of the new Blackmagic URSA camera.
So we've designed the Blackmagic studio camera. It's kind of funny when we designed this because, we wanted a small camera because with modern technology that, you can make the camera smaller. But the problem is the viewfinders scale down as you get the camera smaller. We really wanted the viewfinder to be bigger, so we kind of made, the world's smallest broadcast camera with the world's biggest viewfinder. There it is there with an ENG type lens on it. Of course, it's a micro four lens mount for thirds lens mount. What that lets us do is if you're doing a fixed camera, you can just put a standard photo lens on it. One of the problems we had with designing our live production camera is that a lot of the ENG lenses can't do Ultra HD. They're kind of SD or HD lenses, and so the Ultra HD side really hasn't started to happen. But Fujinon have this great lens here. It's actually a PL mount lens, but it operates, it's a cinema lens, but it operates like a ENG lens. So I'm hoping that there will be more options for ENG lenses coming forward. But it does let you, with micro four thirds, you've got the option to be able to choose different lens mounts. So you see you can put a standard little photo lens on, and of course the photo lenses actually do handle Ultra HD, because we've got two models, but a HD and an Ultra HD model in this camera. It's a great little camera. It's got this big 10-inch viewfinder. It's huge. I mean, you can't see the guys' heads because they're behind the cameras. It's great. Here it is here. It's just so nice to use. I can't explain how nice it is to use such a big viewfinder. It's just, and it's wide viewing angle, so when you're panning around or you're tilting it, you can still see the pictures. It's really bright. It's not a touch screen, so when the sun hits it, it doesn't get between the glass layers and wash the image out. So it's really bright, even in direct sunlight. So we kept rushing outside to test it all the time. Like, it's sunny day, quick, let's go outside and let the sun shine on us. We could check to see if we had the right screen. It's got some overlays that, this doesn't have a recorder in it because it's designed with optical fiber built into it. And it's also, the Ultra HD model is 12 gig SDI. These are 60p cameras, so the HD one does 1080 60p. The Ultra HD one does 60p as well. Although not on the optical fiber because we can't get 12 gig optical fibers yet, but the SDI will do that. Of course, we've got talkback and tally in it, so you can tell when you're on air. You can see, for example, if I come over here, you can see the camera. There you are. So you can see the tally light comes on. You have to make it really bright because if you're in bright sunlight and the recorder needs to start talking, you need to be able to see when you're on air. But then inside, we have to dim it off and you can change the brightness. We're using general aviation headsets for the talkback. They're really tough, really cheap, really strong. There's thousands of people flying around right now using headsets. So general aviation headsets are a fantastic solution for talkback because you've got little cheap $100 ones, but you've got the big noise cancelling ones. If you're doing a rock concert, you put the headset on, totally noise cancels, and like you're in your own world. You're listening to the director, and you don't really care what's going on. It's not how loud it is, so it's great. So, gets us to this. Now, 2 years ago, we developed our cinema camera, and it's a great product. It's fantastic, but we designed this camera to be a nice, small, compact camera. It's essentially shrink a cinema camera down into a small size. What people have been doing with it, however, has been kind of exciting to watch. People have been rigging the cameras up. And we've been discussing kind of why people have been doing that. Some people are suggesting, well, people like rigging up cameras. I'm thinking, well, I don't really think they do. People don't want Lego for adults. I think what they want is to use our camera, which has got great quality pictures, but they want to use it in a larger workflow. They really want to, do quite big jobs with the cameras. We designed it to be this, like a nice intimate camera. So we realised that it was a time when we actually designed something for larger jobs, and almost lets this camera go back to being a very small intimate camera where you can shoot close up tight, intimate scenes. So we've done URSA, which is a camera designed for professional shoots. We've looked at how professional shoots are done, and really been thinking deeply about it. And a lot of the feature sets in this camera have been designed for that. And here it is here. So you can see there's a nice big close-up of it. Now what we've done with the design is we've worked very hard on this, but I think what we've done is we've thought hard about it. We've really thought about how do people use these cameras? What are they really doing? You know, we're watching people rigging the camera up, and you realise that what they're really doing is they've got a workflow around the camera. This is actually the camera's a centre of an actual multi-person workflow. It's a creative work group. So we need to think of cameras like that. So what we've done is we've thought about zones around the camera. You know, we've got a DOP zone, we've got an audio zone, and kind of an assistant zone. And we've designed features around the camera to take care of that. So you can see it's got a huge, 10-inch fold-out monitor. It's massive. I mean, it's just so big. There it is there. And it tilts all the way up, all the way down. So this is the DOP area. You've got all the features you need in this area, and then of course on the other side, you've got areas for an assistant and an audio engineer. So I think that this is to us it seems like a very logical way to design the camera. So that monitor is fantastic. It's a huge monitor, it's bright. You've got features like zoom, you've got peaking settings, all kinds of stuff on there. And there's controls on the side, there's controls on the outside, there's controls in here. It's huge. The other big feature of this camera is it's user upgradable. You can see on the front we've got these big 4 bolts right here. The user can take those bolts out and just unplug the entire sensor assembly. So what that means is that we've got a lot more power in the body than what's actually in the sensor at the moment. We can go beyond. We can go quite a bit beyond actually. Can't talk about how far we can go. But what we really wanted to do is, you might be, like what happens if some new sensor comes along in the future and you think, wow, I've got to throw this whole camera away. It feels wrong. I mean, I want to put all this effort into the camera, all these big monitors and cooling system. The last thing we want to do is really throw that away. So if you can upgrade the camera, I think you can, but I want the user to upgrade it so they can sort of buy a new sensor in the future and just plug it on. You can see the front there, there's those big bolts. That's the PL mount version. It also lets us choose different turrets. So we can have an EF mount, we can have a PL mount, and a range of different sensors. You can pretty much put anything you like. It's got dual C fast card recorders. Now C fast cards are the new card. They're like CF cards, but they're SATA connections on them, so they're very fast. They're like little SSDs. Very, very quick. We've got 2 of them on there, so you can keep recording. So when one fills up, it goes on to the next one. But also it lets us double the frame rate of Cinema DNG RAW because we can bounce between the cards. So we'll be able to go at higher frame rates. Really, in a lot of ways, the frame rate speeds we can do are sort of limited by the media that we're recording onto. So that's one of those things. So I think the C fast cards are much more modern because they're tiny. We can fit 2 in there. They're on the side here. Got built-in scopes. We've been on some of the shoots people have been on, they have separate waveform monitoring, and often when you're doing, like I was shooting, park and I had a city view in the background, I couldn't quite tell whether the buildings were in focus in the background or not. You can never quite tell the infinity focus point. Of course, if you've got a whole collimator and everything, you can do that, but a lot of people don't have that. So, you're kind of fishing around, but everything's covered in focus peaking, and you can't really tell, is the horizon focused? So, we build in scopes. So we've got the histogram for the exposure, we've got a focus peak kind of indicator in the middle. So it peaks up when you're in focus, and it's analysing the sharpness of the image. And also we've got audio at the time. So if you hear a bit of distortion or something, and you think, did I clip? You can look down and you can actually see a red mark when it's clipped. So it gives you sort of audio at the time. You can see that going on there. So I think having scopes built into the camera is fantastic. And the good thing, you've got them on this side, but you've also got them on the other side. And they're independent of each other. So I can have a menu up on this screen. And on this side I've still got my scopes up. So people can be operating the screen on this side completely independent of the screen on this side. And of course you can get, on the assistant station, you can get video as well, so you can still see the pictures. So I think it's pretty nice having scopes built into the camera. Just, that everything's just perfect. Even though, of course, if you're running the F version of the camera, then you can still do autofocus and stuff and control the lens. So it's great. very high capacity cooling in this camera. In the back here, we've got water pipes and cool plates and inside, and there's a heat exchanger in the back, and we kind of got a really quiet fan in here, and we gently pull air up through it. Now we want this body to be able to handle, but the body of the camera can do 120 frames a second in Ultra HD. We've got to get the cool out, because you might want to run that sustained. So we've designed the cooling and the processing power is going to be way beyond what we really currently need. So we've got a really great cooling system there through the top there, because you want to be able to run all the stuff with no fan noise. On our small camera, when you're running it hard, you get a little bit of fan noise coming out. You don't want to pick that up. So the great thing about the large design is that with the big screen in it, you can also run much, much better cooling. And of course, we've got the quick release mount on the bottom, so you can snap it onto the tripod, which is what Peter just did then. And we've got 4 models. This is the great thing about having a removable turret, because we can do different things. And we've done some really crazy stuff as well. We've got the EF mount, because anyone who's used our current cameras can use their same lenses. We've got the PL mount, so you can use all professional lenses, but obviously those lenses cost more. We've got the URSA broadcast mount. Now that's a B4 mount with a neutral density wheel. It's also got a different sensor. That'll be available late in the year. But we really wanted to show that, because we had to design the camera with that in mind, but we also need to do a little bit more work on that. But that's a different sensor, so that really shows how dramatically customizable this camera is. That we can change out the sensor and the turret, and even some of the features like having a neutral density wheel in there. You can't do a neutral density wheel on the big cameras because they'd be quite physically large because it's such a large aperture. But broadcast mount lenses have got a tiny aperture on them. Also, there's a lens control port on that one as well, I've got it at the front. But you can see the right one is URSA HDMI. It's kind of like the world's first camera with no sensor. We took the sensor off and we just got a cheese plate for HDMI input. It's a 4K HDMI input, because we thought, what if we get some other camera we want to plug onto it? So you can see here we've got basically nothing on the front. We've got a little bracket that comes with it so you can mount some kind of camera on rails. And then we've got a Canon 5D on there, which is the weirdest looking thing you can possibly imagine. It really looks strange. We've got it on the front of the booth. It's very funny. We were kind of thinking, well, wouldn't that be cool? Just be weird, But why can't the URSA be the Canon 5Ds or some other DSLRs, most over-the-top accessory you can possibly imagine? Now, if you're a teenager, I'm sure you're going to be able to get yourself a girlfriend or boyfriend with that kind of rig, because it's just crazy big. And I can't wait to see someone doing that. It'll be bizarre. It'll be cool. But it's like everything. Why can't we use it as a recorder? Because then you get the power of you get the scopes, you get the big fold-out screen, you got the audio, professional audio recording, XLR connectors. I mean, that's fan and power on the XLR connector, so you've got quite a lot of audio capability. The dual recorders, you can keep recording. So there's quite a lot of features the body has by itself. So it actually is a good companion for other types of cameras. Mostly we're thinking, of course, people might use it for remote cameras. So they're using the recorder here and moving the cameras up on a rig or something, even our current camera. Because the SDI input, there's an SDI input on the camera. There's a program button on there, so you can actually bring an external video and put it up on the screen if you like. But you could use that input. If there's no HDMI plugged into this one, it'll use the SDI input and record from it. So you can run our cinema camera up at the top of a rig and then bring it down and record it. So it has a flexible range of uses, and you can kind of start thinking about what you can possibly use it for. The URSA EF is $6,000. The PL mount is $500 more, $6,500. The B4 mount, I'm not quite sure the price, will be later in the year, so we'll talk about that. And the no sensor version, the URSA HDMI, is $4,500. It'll probably be available late June, probably July. I think it's later in July based on lead times and components. So it's pretty exciting.
Special thanks to our sponsors for making our NAB coverage possible.